Hey, welcome back to Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone, as well as TikTok at Big Red Zone. And tell a friend. This week, we're going to talk a little NFL. Huge win for the first place in the AFC New England Patriots. The Pats are in that game, as well as check out a couple other games in the league. Of course, our waiver picks of the week, and our little rundown of the Sox and Celtics. All that and more in this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football.
How are we doing, Big Red?
Doing wonderful. Just started coaching again. Back at it. Got the whistle, broke the whistle back out for this time of the year. And we are back at it 1 week in. First game Thursday, and very excited to get the season started. And Danny Football had a fun week. Made his way back to his home sweet home.
The old alma mater, UMass Lowell. Huge game against Amherst on Friday. 5-4 win in shootouts. First time seeing college shootouts. Crazy game. Riverhawks got the win. I couldn't have been happier.
I was gonna say tease it a little bit because we'll give you your
that'll be the tease, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go on that game.
Tune in later in the show. We're going to talk about a little UMass Lowell hockey, as well as, sadly, we'll give one last shout out to what used to be the hottest team in New England.
Man, that fucking hurt so bad.
That was that
hurt so bad to watch.
I don't want
to.
That's we'll tease it. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have a good feeling going into it, and I feel really bad. I didn't have a good feeling going into the playoffs. When you sit a month.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I hated how long that bye was. It was just too long to be sitting on your butt.
Yeah, but we'll get into it later in the show. Let's start with our first segment of the night, Weekend Recap. It's the Weekend Recap. So for Weekend Recap, we break down 3 games from the NFL week. Normally we record on Monday night, Danny Football, but we said we have to wait for the New England Patriots, and I'm so glad we waited for that game. But before we get into that, do you hear that, Danny Football? You hear that sound?
I'm listening hard for it. I can't make it out.
That's the sound of no more. There's no teams without a win in the NFL. The Lions find a way to beat the Vikings. And the first thing that comes to mind, how long does Zimmer have for this Vikings team when we're blowing games against the Lions?
Not great, dude. Giving up a walk-off win to the 0-10-1 Lions is not the best way to keep your job.
I just don't get how this team. I mean, yes, Cook is out. But you have Madison, who is just as, like, when Cook's out, like in fantasy football, I played Madison this week in 2 leagues, and he got me 20 points. Like, he's over 100 yards. He gets a touchdown. Like, he's the dependable back that you can cycle in there. You have Jefferson. Thielen, I know I got hurt. And, Kirk Cousins is a manageable quarterback that will get you, put you in a good position. I have no idea how the Lions, without their number 1 running back, beats you. That's like embarrassing. That cannot happen. But before we get into that, going with that, you mentioned it. Walk off play from Goff to Brown. That was an unbelievable, badly defended play. I feel like they just was an easy, like it wasn't even covered on the play. He's going to the end zone. It's like, what are we doing?
I'm not really sure what they were expecting on that. I didn't watch the game. I saw the highlights after. That was just an epic choke job by the Vikings, man. I couldn't believe it.
So where do the Vikings go from here? I mean, like we were talking about this in the beginning of the season. We were like, at least for me, I looked at it as a potential playoff team. Like they have the pieces to make, like, not make a run, but make the playoffs. And now it's like they got to do some soul searching these last 4 weeks or last 5 weeks.
I mean, you look around the roster. I mean, Justin Jefferson's obviously a huge bright spot for that team. Kirk Cousins, I mean, I'm not really sure where they go from here with Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook is top 5 running back in the league, but health issues there. They have a lot of questions this offseason. And you mentioned Zimmer earlier, so it's going to be a lot of questions of maybe a coaching change. Do we kind of make a change of quarterback? The defense is abysmal from what, you know, clearly, if you're losing to the Lions, it's abysmal defense. So this offseason is going to be a lot of questions of quarterback change, coaching change, completely rebuilding the defense, building around those young players and Cook and Jefferson. Cook, if you trust him enough to stay healthy. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a messy offseason for the Vikings.
Yeah. And I mean, offensively, they do have, like you said, they do have the weapons. Like, and don't forget, I know he's kind of older. He's not part of that young group that you talked about. Adam Thielen is a very serviceable running wide receiver as well. So I think you're right. I think they need to go out there and, I mean, there's a bunch of quarterbacks out there that are, I think going to be on the market. Like, do we see I mean, is this a big red zone call? I don't know. We may need to go back in the vault for this when the offseason happens. But do we see a potential Green Bay Packer join, just like following his predecessor Brett Favre?
Wow.
And leaving and coming to the Vikings? I don't know. That's a potential that's a potential play there. I mean, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would love to play with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and I left out Thielen, but he's not old, but he's entering,
it's like 32, 33.
He's entering the mid part of his career, but that would be insane if Aaron Rodgers took a page out of Brett Favre's book and went to the Vikings. That would be something, man. You're not wrong. I mean, the pieces are there. They would need to do a huge upgrade on the defense.
Oh, 100%.
And get a coach that he wants. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I see Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson and the Vikings are giving me a blank check, it's hard to turn down.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think that would be kind of a cool storyline too for the NFL, and I think that would be funny to see, like, Brett Favre. He's basically, same thing happened to Aaron Rodgers. Is like, they draft the next coming. He doesn't want to be done. He unretires, comes to the Vikings and milks a couple more years out of his career. And what does his predecessor do? Goes to the same thing. He comes to the Vikings and tries to lead them to a playoff run. So I think that would be cool.
And we'll see Aaron Rodgers on the Jets in the AFC East. So
yeah.
We go.
And at least he'll do better than Zach Wilson.
Oh my God.
Zach Wilson had a good week this week, Danny Football.
Yeah, what week is it again? The number 2 pick in the league, and he's finally hitting his stride.
He's finally hitting his stride. Hey,
week 13 took him 13 weeks to finally reach it. Good to know.
Some say that this is the most important time of the season.
I think the Jets are mathematically eliminated in week 2. So if he wants to start cashing in on garbage time, he can.
Let's move on from the Lions Vikings game. Huge upset. I was shocked.
Huge upset. It was cool to see how much that win meant to Dan Campbell. To see a coach jumping up and down on the sideline, hugging his quarterback. You can clearly see how much that meant to him.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to go 0-17.
No.
So, like, to get that win against a good team, it's like,
get the monkey off your back too.
Yeah, first win for Dan Campbell as a head coach.
Count it.
Could be his only one.
He'll always have it. He'll always have it.
He'll have one. He has one more win than us.
True.
Steelers Ravens. I watched this game. This was an unbelievable game. This is back and forth. Exactly what the doctor ordered for some football. I'm trying to pull up the stat line, but it's back and forth. Did you watch this game?
I did not watch it. Really, what I took out of this game was I thought the Steelers were dead in the water, man. After the shit show they put on against the Bengals and how bad Roethlisberger looked, I thought the Steelers were dead in the water. But I got to give them credit, man. They showed a little bit of fight against the Ravens. Interdivision game. This is a huge rivalry game. Steelers, Ravens. It's always hard hitting, always physical. And dude, they went in, they punched the Ravens right in the mouth, and they took the W. Lamar Jackson, I'm not gonna say it was his best game ever because it clearly wasn't. They just took it on the chin and lost. So I'm not saying the Steelers are elite by any means. I'm not saying they're a threat to win the AFC, but they're still in the hunt. They're still in the hunt. I'll give them that much. And the Ravens took a big step back. So we'll talk about it later with the Pats, but losing that number 1 seed, especially with the new playoff structure, that number 1 seed is huge.
Right. For
the Ravens to lose control of that and not have the number 1 seed be controlled by their own destinies is critical.
Yeah. I also want to start by saying thank you to Deontay Johnson for helping me make the playoffs and getting me into week 1. That guy had a huge day, 105 yards, 8 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. I think you're right. I mean, part of it is, the Ravens did a good job coming back, and, Harbaugh, I can't blame him. He made a gutsy call to go for 2 to just go and win it right there. He scored a touchdown and kicked the extra point and go into overtime, but he wanted to win it right there. They had all the momentum in that game, and it didn't work out. It was a pretty bad play. But, I mean, you're right. I think this is a huge win for the Pats because now they got that 1 seed kind of they got the 1 seed right now. They got to finish it, but now they're in control. They're in the driver's seat. The Steelers, Ben had a decent game. I think the difference in this game was the running game. You can't be one-dimensional in this league. We're going to talk about it with the Pats and Bills. That's the problem with the Bills. They have no running game. And when you're leading rusher, as we always say, if your leading rusher is your quarterback, that's probably not a good sign. And Devontae Freeman, he had a pretty good day, 52 yards on the ground with a touchdown. And then I know he had some, he had like 5 receptions, 45 yards on the ground. So, I mean, he did a good job, but you need in this league right now, you need to have someone in the backfield that is a threat and that teams have to game plan for. If you're just so one-dimensional, unless you're the Patriots who throw the ball 3 times in a game and they know you're going to run the football, it takes that's a very hard thing to do, to make someone just know you're throwing it or you're running. You need to have 2-dimensional play. So I'm not really scared of the Ravens at all.
No, it's pretty evident that they're not the juggernaut they once were.
Yeah. So, I mean, good win for the Steelers. I love TJ Watt. I wish I played him this week. For some reason, I didn't have him in. But big win for the Steelers, and even bigger win for the Pats with this win. Let's get to the main game of the week. Pats Bills, Monday Night Football. Terrible conditions. Goalpost was ready to be blown back to New England.
Right up our fucking alley, man. Right up
our alley.
Right up Bill Belichick's alley.
Did you hear him early in the week? He's like, yeah, we practice in snow, we practice in rain, we practice in sun.
Did you see the video of the locker room after the win? He literally said, this is why we practice in this shit.
Yeah. And that's why he's the best coach of all time, there. And also, got to shout out David Andrews before the game in a cutoff and shorts in the middle of a snowstorm. Nails. I just my 2 cents. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it, but as much as the score doesn't show it, like because the score would show a tight game. It was a tight game, back and forth. Not really back and forth, but it was a tight game. 14-10. This is right where the score about where the score I thought was going to be, with the conditions that they were under. But Danny Football, I'm going to say it right now: the Patriots dominated this game.
1000%. I was gonna say this
They
was a complete physical domination of a football game, save for the N'Keal Harry fuck up on the punt, which handed
right,
them a touchdown, and then save for the phantom personal foul on Bryant, which was also bullshit, which handed them a
yeah,
field goal. If you
right,
take away the muffed punt and you take away the personal foul, this game ends 14-zip. The Bills
right,
don't score shit if not for those two things happening.
right.
And I guess you could also argue that, oh well, the Bills fumbled. That has nothing to do with it because regardless, the Pats are winning this game. So if you take away the two mistakes, one by N'Keal Harry and one by the officiating, it's not a close game. It's a 14-0 game in which the Patriots told the Bills every single play, we're going to run it. There's nothing you can do about it. And then they did it. Mac Jones throws 3 passes, 2 are completed, and there was never a doubt in my mind who was winning this game. Never a doubt.
You have two people. Damian Harris, part of it because of the long run, 111 yards. Monday Stevenson, 78 yards. They told him, and then obviously the rest of the guys running the ball. We had a bunch of people running. But it's like you said, we told you we are running it down your throat every time. And did they get stops on third down? 3 and outs, yes. But I think that's the difference. Bill had confidence in the game plan. And he's like, all right, we'll punt. We'll play the field position game, and we will run it down your throat.
Right.
And I'm just so impressed with this team. People are going to say Mac Jones didn't prove it. I mean, he threw 3 passes, 2 complete.
That's bullshit
But
because
I was going to say, I agree. It's not right because it's the game plan. He managed the game, and he was a leader on that field for that game. And I just think this proves that this football team is to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now. I said it preseason. I'm said it midseason. I'm saying it now. This is Super Bowl team right here. Mac Jones is going to do what Tom Brady did his second year in the league, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. Telling you right now.
I believe it because I know a lot of people were joking last night that this was like watching Navy play football. The reason Navy plays football the way they do is because they analytically break down the best way to win a football game, and that's by minimizing risks. And what did Bill Belichick do last night against the Bills in a literal nor'easter? He minimized the risk. Winds are insane. There's snow. It's cold. You have a rookie quarterback. You don't have the most elite receivers of all time. What do? Take the ball out of Mac Jones' hands and run the ball. Run the ball. Run the ball. And I will say this, I'm very glad this game happened week 13 as opposed to week 5, 6, because then, Ramondre Stevenson still has those fumble jitters from week 1, messing up the Cowboys game, messing up the Dolphins game. This is a 7-game win streak. We know how to win now. We know how to close out games. Our running backs are solid. Bolden, Stevenson, Harris, they're all solid, ready to go. So that's what Bill Belichick did. He said, I'm going to ride with my offensive line that has shown they're elite this season. I'm going to ride with my running backs who have shown they can protect the ball now. And I'm going to run it 45 goddamn times, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why would I have Mac Jones throw into the wind? Why would I have Mac Jones throw against the wind? That's going to blow it out. And we saw it on the Jonnu Smith pass. He barely came down with it.
Right.
So Bill's whole strategy was, I'm not risking turnovers in this game. This is going to be a sloppy game. It's going to be a low scoring, 2-score, 1-score game. And that's the reason the Patriots won. We didn't throw interceptions. We didn't fumble. The only mistake was N'Keal Harry, and he shouldn't have been out there in the first place. So I know a lot of jokes about this being the Navy game, but that's why Navy plays football the way they do. They don't want to turn the ball over, and we didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, what's up with that, N'Keal? I don't understand that's the one knock I give on as N'Keal Harry just get out of the way. You got to put that on coaching too. Like, why is he
Should
out
never
there?
have been out there. Should never have been out there.
Why? And
You
Gunner's right there.
you
Gunner's
really
up.
did send him out there to fail.
Right. And it's a guy that we've been asking to catch passes for 3 years and he can't do. Why would we expect him to catch a football or like be able to follow simple instruction on a punt? Like I don't get it. We've had Gunner out there all day long. Why isn't Gunner? I mean, that's Gunner's job, right? He's the punt returner. He's a kickoff return. Like, why isn't he there? And for some reasons, it got messed up. I don't know what happened, but that was bad. And it's funny. I think I tweeted it out. I am right after I give N'Keal Harry so much good credit for, hey, that's a good block from him to help with the Damian Harris long touchdown. He comes and does that. It's like it's brutal. Like this is the frustration with N'Keal Harry because he'll do one good thing, a couple good things in a row, and you're like, man, he's kind of like finding his role on his team that's productive, and then he does something stupid that costs us 7 points. So that's just my frustration with him. But I don't put all of it on him. I put a lot of it on the coaching because that was a bad play.
No,
And
he shouldn't have been out there.
in a game where the coaching they did so well, like I feel like this was a very well coached game by the Patriots. That was the one. I think that was one of the only things that I had negative to say. Do you hear Sean McDermott after the game?
Yeah, I'm Sean McDermott's a good coach, man. I'm not gonna drag him for being a bad coach, but from what I've seen and seeing him on the sideline last night and hearing everything post game, that dude has such sour grapes. It's actually insane, and it's pretty embarrassing if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
That dude, Bill Belichick, is so deep inside that man's head that he can't get out of his own way at this point. It's embarrassing, dude.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
you've you've won one division, and that's because Cam Newton was playing quarterback for us in a COVID year. You haven't proven anything. Bill
Right.
Belichick has won the division how many times at this point? 13, 14, 15, 16? Who are you to possibly say anything negative about Bill Belichick when he's won so much more than you have? I don't understand where this guy gets off.
Yeah, I thought it was ridiculous, dude. He has 17 division titles, by the way.
There you go.
I think it's the little brother mentality, man. I really do. Like the Bills, like have always been like that second place team or the like right there, and they just can't get over the big bad Patriots. And then finally last year, Tom leaves. The Patriots have Cam Newton, and that doesn't work out. And they just, the Bills finally win the division, and everyone's talking about, all right, they have Josh Allen, they have Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Dawson, like they have a good team. And like, this is their time. Like the next 10 years.
1-year window when it closed.
They had a 1-year window with Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. And now it's like, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because it's
slammed
still 5 weeks.
I'll say it, slammed shut, nails in the boards. They're done.
Put a nail, stick a fork in them.
Absolutely. They're done.
I mean, let's look at the standings right now. I mean, I think
they dropped all the way to 7.
7-5. So they're a game and a half back from the Patriots.
They're the 7th seed right now. The season ended right now.
Oh, they're a 7 seed in so they're not even in the playoffs. No, how many? 8 make it.
So they're the 7th seed of the season ended today.
Jeez. I think that's all it is. And I mean, to say that let's not give Bill Belichick too much credit, I don't think we give him enough credit for what he does with this football team. Yes, they have a lot of talent. They spend a ton of money on this team, but he's doing it with a rookie quarterback.
Bill Belichick has 7 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
More than that. I'm sorry, because he got a couple
with the Giants.
Bill Belichick has multiple Super Bowl rings. He has multiple division titles. He has multiple AFC championships. Who is Sean McDermott to say that Bill Belichick gets too much credit?
Yeah.
He's the greatest coach of all time. Like, they're going to rename the Lombardi after him. Like,
right.
I don't know where McDermott gets this, but it is pitiful, man. It's pitiful.
And the funny thing is like, I think he was trying to cover in that comment. I think he's trying to cover his own behind to say like he didn't get out coached in this game.
He got out coached 1,000,000%.
He got out coached 1,000,000%. And McDermott made mistakes. He called that. He wasted a timeout on that third down play late in the game.
He kicked a field goal into the wind. It was just bad. I mean, Bill Belichick wouldn't even kick an extra point into the wind. He said, we're going for 2. I don't care. Like, it's just, I agree. I don't know where this guy gets the gumption to say like that Bill Belichick doesn't deserve credit. Sour grapes, dude. Like, it's the little brother thing. This dude is just
the little brother.
He's absolutely jealous that his time is over after 1 year.
Yeah,
and he's on the hot seat too. Like, I was looking through some of the Twitter, the tweets from some of the threads after his comments. Dude, Bills fans were not happy with him.
Dude, the Bills before like a couple weeks ago. First of all, you talk about New England and Boston media and Boston fans being hard on your team. The Bills fans are brutal. They said after the Jacksonville loss, or like within like it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. Jeepers crow, this microphone. They did a poll. Do you think the team's going to make the Bills are going to make the playoffs? Like 60% said no. It's like, and they were, what is it? They were 7-4. We were 8-4 or whatever.
They at least had a share of first place at that point still.
Yeah, they lose one game and they lose a couple games and the Bills are like, they're not going to make the playoffs. And now they're the 7th seed. So it's like, that's a little closer. But at the time, the Bills were in first. I think the Bills were still in first place when that poll went out. So it's like, Bills fans are tough. And Sean McDermott, when he's making comments like that and he's losing games, it's, you lost to Jacksonville, bro. You lost to Jacksonville. You can't be
making those comments when you haven't won anything. Like,
right.
It's one thing if you won the Super Bowl last year and you're like, we're the top dogs now. We're the defending champs. We're the division winners. You won the division, and that's it, my man. That's all you did. The Patriots had one down season, and now we're back. So you can't be making these comments when your so-called reign of terror was 1 season, whereas the Patriots owned you the last 20 goddamn years.
And get ready for another 20.
Exactly, and now we're back for more. So you can piss and moan all you want, Sean McDermott, but it's inevitable. We're back.
The most disappointing thing about this was because up until like this game, really, I kind of like Sean McDermott. I was kind of had nothing negative to say, but now I'm like, pound sand, dude. Like, enjoy the either the wild card or the in an early off season, dude. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't get where this guy gets so excited. And now, guess what, Sean McDermott? You get to go to Tampa, and you get to play them this week. And Tom Brady was hot last week.
Now Tom Brady gets to shove it up your ass this week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And then you come back here to Gillette, and we're gonna shove it up your ass again.
And did you hear Bill? He was joking. I don't know if you heard it on EI this morning. He was like joking around, and they said, "What is there anything that It was something about like anything you got prepared for them for next time. Did the weather play like is there weather like affect anything watching film or whatever? I don't know. But he's like, yeah, we can run any passing play we had ready for them because we didn't run one. He's like, we got the whole passing playbook open because we passed
it 3 times. Point. We didn't show our hand at all. That's a really good point.
You know what? One thing that I don't know if you noticed, like, I feel like Bill is totally different. He's the same Bill Belichick between the lines, but off like field, I feel like Bill's totally different this year. I feel like he's playing with a lot like loose.
He's having a
playing
lot
like
more fun now. I think he's having
yeah,
a lot more fun. Rookie quarterback. This team's, really showing what they're made of in this 7-game win streak. Obviously, winning makes everything better, but
right.
everything I've seen and heard, man, he's having fun right now. He's having fun.
Like last
It's a
last
blank
week,
slate. It's a blank slate.
right.
It's a whole new team.
I think it gives him more life. Like I think this extends from a I don't know if this is true, but I think of it as it extends his career a little bit because I feel like it gave him a little juice.
Mm.
You know, he's joking around last week with Kendrick Bourne, giving the stiff arm. He gives Kendrick Bourne the stiff arm. He's hugging everyone. He had that great moment with his son after the game. Like this was a big game, and he's showing emotion, like a guy that doesn't show any emotion. He's showing emotion, and it's exciting to see because Bill excited makes me excited. I got to be honest with you. Like anytime I see Bill give a fist pump, I get a little fired up.
Yeah, it's weird. The Patriots are having fun. No,
Yeah.
despite what Lane Johnson had to say a couple of years ago, the Patriots are having fun.
After 40 years of not having any fun in that football team, we're now having some fun. Quick look ahead in the AFC. Well, for the Patriots, sorry, not the AFC. They have a bye week this week, which it give them some rest up, get some guys healthy. But we after the bye, we got a Saturday night game.
Yeah, I know. Weird.
We're going Saturday. We're at that time of the year, day football, Saturday night. We're playing against the Colts in Indianapolis. I hate the Colts, so it'd be great to shove a win right in Jim Harris's face.
That's gonna be a win.
We got to win that one.
That's gonna be a win. Off a bye, we're gonna destroy the Colts. I swear to
God. Then we got the Bills at home, and that's the biggest game of the year, I think. Like this was the biggest game of the year, but this will be the biggest game for the last 4 weeks. And that's the day after Christmas.
That could no. That would probably seal the division, right?
Depending on how the next
they have a game in hand which they'll use this week. There'll be a game back. Right? There'll be a game back, but they have to beat the Bucks, so I'm not really sure.
They have to beat the Bucks. So if they lose to the Bucks, they'll be 2 games back.
They'll be a game and a half back.
No, they're a game and a half back now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were a half game up.
Right.
So we're a game and a half. We're a game and a half
up. If they lose, it'll be 2 full back. Gotcha.
2 full back, and then if we beat them on the Bills, that locks it.
That would lock the division up. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be huge. Get some help from Tommy, and then no, because there's a game in between there. I mean, because we play the Colts, we don't play them right away. They play. I don't know who they.
So it could be over at that point.
Yeah, it depends on how the next couple weeks go. They play the Bucks and then the Panthers. I mean, yeah, I don't know how that.
So there's a chance you could be going into Gillette with a chance to clinch the division.
Right.
And then that would be huge because then you have those 2 cupcake games, and if it doesn't really matter.
But that the 1 seed.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Obviously, you want to play for the 1 seed. If somehow the 1 seed is locked up, then you get to rest everyone. I would rest everyone. Like Judon, rest. Harris, rest. Anyone on defense who needs it, rest. Offensive line, if anyone needs it, rest. Everyone.
We could be seeing a Jared Sidham game.
No, Brian.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
I'm not ready for that. Brian Hoyer game.
Yeah, I mean, we got to kind of watch out because the Chiefs are hot. We've won 7. They've won 5 in a row, and they're 8-4. They're half a game back from us in the division. So I want that 1 seed bad. If we're going to the playoffs, I want the 1 seed bad.
We need the road to go through Gillette.
Right. So, and I mean the Ravens. You have the Ravens are 8-4, and then the Titans. I mean, you have the tiebreaker against them, but they're 8-4. So you drop one of those games and they win, they go up. You know what I mean? They lose a couple of these games, or they win this week and they go 9-4. Then you drop one, they win one. That's what I think it's important. We got to take each of these games. We can't take any of these games lightly. And like you said, I'd like them to close. It's very unlikely they go undefeated. You know, they've closed out the season winning 11 straight, going 11-0 to end the
I don't see
season.
why not.
But I mean, looking at the schedule, I don't see why not. Bills is the only one that's going to be a tough game. Even though we dominated them, that's still a good football team. And if we can dominate them again, which we should at home, it's a wrap, dude. This team's going to win 11-0. I'm not worried about the Jags. I'm not worried about the Dolphins. We need to we'll blow them out and go into the playoffs, getting a nice bye to rest. But I'm excited, man. Football is back in New England. It's exciting, and everyone else is so mad about it.
It's like Zoe said a couple years ago, man. America's worst nightmare is back, and now it's Mac Jones at the helm. We have a young kid at the helm. It's not Tom Brady, who everyone can kind of cross their fingers and hope that he's going to be gone in a couple of years. Mac Jones is here to stay, and he's going to be here for a while.
So I'm excited. I mean, we won't be able to talk Pats the next week, so got a lot of Pats talk in this week. So let's move on to our next segment of the night, the picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we pick one game from the upcoming NFL week. And right now, I tied it up. Dave Football tied it up with my Pats pick.
Coming down
Very
the stretch.
excited. And hey, it's anyone's game. 5 weeks of the regular season and a couple playoff weeks. Do we end it before the playoffs? We'll have to figure it out if we end it before the playoffs. I don't see why we can't pick some playoff games. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. But who's your pick of the week?
I'm going Chiefs over Raiders. I know that doesn't help with
Yeah, thanks a lot.
that doesn't help with us clinching the 1 seed, but you already mentioned, man, they're hot as hell. The Raiders actually had a good showing last week. I thought they were kind of gonna start slipping a little bit, but they're kind of an up and down team. It's a division game. I do expect the Raiders to kind of give them a fight, but I think the Chiefs are starting to hit that gear that I think they're gonna roll. And I think it's going to be a dogfight for that 1 seed, but I do trust Bill to be able to game plan for the Chiefs. So I think it's going to be Chiefs over Raiders, and we're going to have to see how this 1 seed race goes.
Yeah, they're very hot. I mean, I think it for the Raiders case, it depends if they get a healthy Darren Waller back.
True.
Because that will help their offensively. But I think you're right. I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right on that one.
Oh, I'd love a Chiefs loss, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Loss. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go help the Pats out, and I'm going Bucks over Bills. If I can't pick my Patriots, I'm picking Tommy, baby. I'm going Bucks over Bills.
I think this
Bucks
is
are gonna
a
roll.
lock game. A lock. This is a
You
lock.
think it's a lock?
This is a lock. Bucks over Bills. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Sharpie.
All right. Write it in Sharpie. That's a Danny. We gotta get a T-shirt for Danny Football that says write it in Sharpie. Moving on to waiver pickups. I'm going Amon St. Brown. Another team that's hot right now is the Detroit Lions. Coming on, they're 1-0 in their last game. They're 1-0,
undefeated in the last week.
Undefeated in 1 week. So I'm going Amon St. Brown, the man who had the walk-off touchdown. He had 10 catches, 12 targets, 86 yards, and a touchdown. I see this guy as a good keeper value. He's, no one has him. He's rostered in 6.5% of leagues. No one drafted him. He's going to be available in any league you're in. If you're out of the playoffs or like looking for someone just to get a keeper and you don't have anyone else, I'm thinking of just putting him on my roster myself and just keeping him there and maybe keeping him next year. So, 12 targets, like that's a lot of targets.
That's a healthy amount.
Jared Goff is looking his way, and he's catching a lot of them. 10 catches. That's a really good day. So I'm going to Amon St. Brown. Locking in.
Nice.
Sharpie.
I'm going to go Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end for Washington. He's rostered 6.3% of leagues. It's a tight end. If you need a tight end towards the end of the year, I know it's kind of a thin position at this point. He's coming off a good week. playoff race. Maybe you want to just kind of stash some guys. I know in the Rocks, the league we do with the Rocks interns, at this point, people are just stashing people just so other people can have them.
Yeah,
So if you want to just kind of pick someone up just so someone can't use them against you, I'm going Ricky Seals Jones.
I like it. Just a fantasy in the BRZ fantasy football. Little update. Was there ever any doubt who would be the 1 and 2 seed in the BRZ league? I am currently in the I don't know how, but I dominated this year. I'm just gonna say it right now. I dominated, and I hope to continue this into the playoffs. I finished. No, I shouldn't say I finished because we still got one more week. But I'm 11 and 2. I have the 1 seed. Danny Football is officially. Are you officially? Yeah, you officially locked up the 2 seed. We'll both be on bye.
Hell
We
yeah.
both won our divisions. And the champ is still, I think he's pretty much locked into he's not officially locked, but he's got about 200 points more than anyone else. So, uh, he's pretty much locked in there. I got to see how the points fall, but it's a close race between, I believe, our man Jared Haven. Shout out Jared Haven, Andy Terrio. Shout out Andy Terrio, and Mr. Jack Moran. So 2 of the 3 of those people will be in the playoffs. The other one will be taking an early vacation with our friend, our good friend James, Dave Griffin, and
What a fall from grace for
Aaron
Dave
Golf.
Griffin.
I mean, I think, was it a fall from grace or just a fall back to reality for Dave Griffin? I don't know.
The clock struck midnight on a Cinderella run.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I thought Dave Griffin had a great draft. I thought he had a way better draft than last year.
We shit on his draft and he comes in second, and then we praise his draft and he falls out of the playoffs. So,
but yeah, I mean that's going to be a good toilet bowl.
Negative reinforcement only for Dave.
I guess he likes to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he had no bulletin board material this year.
That's right, and I mean, he's too focused on cracking that.
Right, that's a good point. He's trying to get into that starting 5. So,
I mean, I think he should. I think he should get up there.
Him, Scherzer, and DeGrom.
Yeah, I think that would be a great 1, 2, 3. Shout out Dave Griffin. Will the New York Mets finally call him up, please? Because I mean, how much does the kid have to prove down there and dominate down in
Brooklyn,
the minors, Brooklyn? But Rob Marcello, I mean, surprise of the year. I mean, he's doing great. I mean, I'm not too surprised, I guess, but
no, he had a really good draft.
He had a really good draft. It's looking like he'll be the 3. He could potentially be the 3 seed, but I mean, it's too early to call all within a game. But we will let you know on how the chips fall with this. But we know the top 2 dogs who are going to get a bye next week. I may not even play any players. Give my guys 2 weeks rest.
Sit everyone.
Moving on to our quick update. I mean, it's been a while. We won't talk too much about it. We just, the news broke, as always, as breaking news happens after our pod was released. Sox made a flurry of moves before the lockout happened, which we'll get into in a few minutes. They bring back Rich Hill for about the 20th time.
Dick Melton, ready to go.
Ready to bring him back. I mean, I think I looked, the first time he signed was over 22 years ago. So welcome back, Rich Hill. The guy that I couldn't remember his name, James Paxton, he signed
Big Maple, dude. Big Maple.
Jeez. He's no Scherzer, but you know what? Give me a little starting depth. And the guy that everyone loves and everyone loves to hate, JBJ was traded for with a couple of prospects for Hunter Renfroe.
Good prospects.
Yeah. So here's my 2 cents on the trade. Okay. I think it was time. I said it last year. It was time to let JBJ go, and I was okay with it. Bringing him back, I feel like we're going backwards with that. With that said, you get 2 really good prospects, which is right up Chaim Bloom's alley. He loves prospects. He loves going cheap. And I think the Red Sox, I really do got scared from Hunter Renfro's performance in the playoffs. It reminded me a lot of how he was in Tampa the year before. So, I mean, maybe they were like, man, maybe this was like he just played out of his mind this year, and let's get what we can for him because he's on a 1-year deal. Like he's only at 1 more year left of his deal. And they were able to get a serviceable center fielder where they can move Kike probably back to second. And they got 2 prospects that they can stash in their farm system, build up the farm system.
Dude, I'm going to be the one to say it. The Worcester Red Sox are going to be absolutely loaded this season. They're going to be loaded this season between whoever doesn't make the 40-man for the Red Sox and all these freaking prospects that we're bringing in. We brought up Cassis from the Sea Dogs. We got, Duran's still a possibility to come back. Who knows? Connor Siebold, who knows? Dude, the Worcester Red Sox are going to be to the gills with prospects.
To the gills. They're going to be so good. I think that's what Chaim Bloom's focused on, just winning championships.
He's building AAA up. Let's go. We're going to get a title down here in Worcester. We're going to be good to go.
I can't wait for the Woo Sox to win a title and then the Red Sox win the title a couple months later.
My God.
Has that ever happened? I'm sure that's
I was just about to ask the same thing. You can go on about whatever is next, but I'll look that up.
Well, I like I said, I like the trade in a sense. It's like I'd say the same thing about bringing Andrew Benintendi back. It's like I kind of want to move on, but listen, we got 2 prospects. I think JBJ only has 1 more year on his deal, so we'll live with it. Rich Hill, get the big lefty back in here. And James Paxton, we'll see what he does. I mean, I have Garrett Richards vibes from this guy, so we'll have to see. And the big news is, which is, kind of, disappointing. The lockout happens right after that. They announced they're going to have the MLB lockout. I'm just so like I don't know all the technical stuff about this. I'm not gonna pretend I know all this stuff, but I feel like the owners kind of gotta get their heads out of their behinds, especially our owner, who I can't stand, who's more interested in bringing the Pittsburgh Penguins to Boston. It's like it's the most annoying thing ever, and I mean, I'm interested to hear your take on the whole thing, but I just think this is ridiculous, and we need to just come to some kind of agreement and get this moving along. Because sorry, I know I just passed
go
out,
ahead.
but I mean, we are like we're saying baseball's dying and blah blah blah, but this is adding to it. It's been one of the most boring off seasons of all time. Like, there's been nothing. There's still huge key market free agents, and it took months. It took over a month to get the first big name free agent off the board, and we still have, I don't know how many names still available. So, I mean, this is just hurting the game. It's boring. I think like the off season, I think this needs to get fixed so we can start doling out the money and start bringing in some get some free agent signings.
I was just going to say that it's unfortunate. I mean, you have such a good playoffs. Like, I feel like baseball was really buzzing. You had the Field of Dreams game that got everyone's attention. I felt like MLB really had the ball rolling on something good here. And of course, the owners can't get out of their own way. So we have a lockout. Will it be as detrimental as the 94 strike? Probably not. I have a feeling this will get figured out before it starts affecting like spring training and the start of the season. But it's just unfortunate that the one off season where like free agents are moving and trades are happening and, and like there's a real buzz, they shut it down. Like you were having a good buzz, like headline grabbing off season, and you guys couldn't get out of your own way. And now here we are. You can't have contact with anyone. The Red Sox have interest in Trevor Story, and they can't talk to him now because there's a lockout.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because right now we could be talking about how the Patriots, we could be talking about how the Red Sox are adding Trevor Story and how that's huge for the depth and huge for our defense and our lineup, and we can't. We have nothing to talk about now apart from what was able to take place before the lockout happened. So it's greed. It's Manfred being it. We say it all the time. Just a terrible, terrible commissioner. No feel for this league at all. An absolute suit who has no idea what he's doing. And the owner's just being greedy. I don't know what the CBA situation is right now, what kind of how their negotiations are going, but it's just unfortunate, man. I mean, we see this in all the leagues. The NFL did it to themselves a couple of years ago. The NHL had that '04 lockout, which killed them for a whole season, nearly killed the league. And then
NBA had that
the
one.
NBA had their shortened season a couple of years ago when they started on Christmas because they couldn't figure it out. So it's just unfortunate that this happens. It sucks.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I don't think this is gonna last too long. Give it a couple weeks, maybe a month or so. I'll start getting really nervous when it's in the going into spring training time, and when I was like, oh man, we kind of gotta get this show on the road. But I think it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna end soon. But it's just doesn't help the game. Uh, Celtics, not real quick, just real quick update. Coming from where we're at, they're 7-4 from when we for the last 2 weeks or the last 3 weeks, whatever. I just added they were 2-1 over the last week. Danny football they're looking better than we thought they were going to be, but it's
They've
still
turned a
early.
corner. They've turned a corner.
But they are losing some really bad games. I don't really want to talk about it. It's pretty disappointing. It's just frustrating. I don't want to buy in when I know they're going to lose, but rumor has it through the grapevine, Danny football. I'm hearing rumors. Dennis Schroeder could be on the trade block.
Dude, did you see that Jesus, the Pacers maybe blowing it up? Levert,
Oh, really?
Miles Turner, a lot of people are going to be on the trade block from the Pacers.
Do you move Dennis Schroeder for
Depends on
someone
who.
like that?
For like a Levert or Miles Turner, I'd move him.
Yeah.
I'd move. See, now Miles Turner isn't as attractive as he once was because
Right.
now Rob Williams is really holding it down, which I knew he was going to the entire time. The only question was, would
Health.
Brad believe in him, or it was health, and would Brad actually give him the keys? And then Brad took himself out of the equation. So Miles Turner, not so much, but Levert's a good player. He might be a little bit better than Schroeder, but he has some health issues that unfortunately he needs to deal with, and that it becomes a question of can you trust it. So I'd be more inclined to roll with Schroeder as opposed to kind of rolling the dice on either
Yeah.
of those guys.
Yeah, I kind of want to roll the dice with him too. He's his best player, right? Like he's been the best player on the court for the Celtics. I get he's on a 1-year deal, and you're not going to get him for that low of money next year. The thought process there is, I guess, try to get what you can for him. But it's definitely a tough call because I just think he is like helping you win games. Like he's definitely, if the goal is to win a championship, give yourself a best chance to win a championship. I feel like you got to keep him on the roster. So I like to see them just roll the dice and see if they can re-sign him. If they don't re-sign him, oh well. But hopefully you get a championship out of it. And I mean, RIP to once was the hottest team in the New England. The Revs lose in the first round. Shocking upset. Also, can we just say this, Danny Football? This is why I don't like soccer. There's so many stupid rules. I know you play it, Danny Football, and this is your game, but let me tell you something. In a playoff game, why in the world are you going to goal kicks? I feel like this has got to be OT and just play it out.
No, that's just how it is in European soccer, which MLS has been doing their best to try to like capture that that I don't want to say European feel, but the MLS is trying to play more of a traditional European style of structure. I mean, over in England, dude, they don't play overtime. They don't do shootouts. They they just have ties, and I'm talking regular season. So regular season, there is no shootouts, there is no overtime. Once the game's over, the game's over. If you tie, you tie. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. In England, and I believe it's all of the European leagues. I could be wrong, but I know in England they don't even do playoffs, man. Like the best regular season team, that's the champion. There is no playoffs. If you're the best team in the regular season, you win the championship, and you can clinch the championship with weeks to go too. So if MLS did that, the Revs would have been champions 2 months ago. But we do playoffs here in MLS, just like, regular American sports. And how Europe does it, they do two overtime periods. And if the overtime periods are tied, it's shootouts. And this is how they do it for all their cup games, and World Cup does it. Champions League does it. So all the European tournaments do this. It's 2 overtime halves. If you're still tied, you just go to shootouts. It's more for player safety. We see it with football here. You can't just have guys going forever. And that's what happened in soccer, man. You're only allowed so many substitutions in soccer that at a certain point, these guys are gassed. And you could see it in that Revs NYCFC game. Some of those guys were absolute toast because you can only make so many subs. So if you can only make 3, 4, or 5 subs, there are going to be guys out there who are playing 90 minutes, 105 minutes, 115 minutes, 120 minutes, and they're just done. So it's a huge ask to kind of tell them to keep going. I enjoy the shootout. I think it's good suspense. It is unfortunate that a record-breaking season comes down to shootouts, but at the same time, man, like that's why you finish it in regulation. That's why you don't give up a goal in the first 3 minutes and have to claw your way back. That's why you don't give up a goal in the dying embers of the first half of overtime, because then you have to work your way back. And you and me mentioned this before we started recording. That bye killed them, man. Being the 1 seed and sitting for 3 weeks, that absolutely killed them. Meanwhile, New York was playing a play-in game. They got hot, and now they're going to the championship too. Now they're going to the championship. NYCFC is in MLS Cup. And we see it in baseball all the time. Wild card teams get hot. The Red Sox got hot. The Nationals got hot, won the World Series. Teams just catch fire, man. And it's unfortunate that the Revs went down like this. Still a successful season. Carlos Hill won the MVP. So we had the MVP on our team. We had the best goalkeeper on our team. There are a lot of good positives to take from the season. I think they'll be able to run it back next season. Will it be record breaking? Probably not. That'll be so hard to replicate, but I think they're in a good spot for next season. And we'll just have to see where they go from there.
Well, we still love the Revs.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We can be
build them a new stadium.
We can be disappointed and we can be upset, but at the same time, like I still ride for them. They've been hurting me since I was a kid. I can rock with this.
And also, give us your UMass Lowell update from the game that you went to last week.
Here we go. All right, this is where we get the positivity at the bottom of the sandwich here.
That's right. Should I give you 2 minutes for rough? Is it 2 minutes for roughing? We haven't had 2 minutes for roughing in a while.
We can break out a 2 minutes. We can break out a 2 minutes for roughing.
Let's bring out a 2 minutes for roughing. This is a spontaneous 2 minutes for roughing.
There we go.
Let me tell us what the 2 minutes for roughing is, Danny Football, for our new listeners.
So 2 minutes for roughing. We're gonna go 2 minutes. I'm gonna run down the anything UMass Lowell, what we got going on, games that happen, games coming up, where they're standing. But I'm good to go. Whenever you're ready to hit the timer.
Ready to go?
Let's go. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1, go.
So we were back in the Songus Friday night. UMass Lowell, UMass Amherst. Pretty good rivalry game going. Number 13 UMass versus 14 UMass Lowell. A lot on the line, my man. Hockey East bragging rights. UMass system bragging rights. Dude, UMass came out and punched us in the mouth. They went up 2-0. Second period. UMass Lowell storms back. We got a couple penalties. We got a couple power play goals. We go up 3-2. UMass ties at 3-3. We go into the third period. We go up 4-3. And then 90 seconds left, UMass ties at 4-4. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, I can't do overtime right now. We go to overtime. We go on the penalty kill. and it's fourth. They play 3-on-3 overtime. It's 4-3. UMass is killing me. They're trying to score a goal. They can't do it. We kill it. Go to shootouts, and Savory stands on his head, the UMass Lowell goalie. And I tell everyone that listens, UMass Lowell is goaltender university. We just build goalies different there. He stands on his head. We get a goal. We score on the shootout. We win in the shootouts 5-4. Huge win for UMass Lowell, my man. We're having a great season so far. Underdogs. No one was picking us to go anywhere this season. So I'm loving where we're at. We dropped the away game to Mass the next day at Mullins Center, but I'm not going to worry about that.
We're not talking about that one. We're
not
only talking about
that. We're talking about the Friday game.
That's
so,
right.
As it stands right now, we're 8-3-3. We're right where we want to be. We're playing Vermont this weekend. 2 games up in Vermont, 10th and 11th. And then we go on Christmas break. So close out Hockey East, get 2 easy wins over Vermont, reset, come back in the new year. And dude, I'm ready to see where this team can go. I'm feeling good about this UMass Lowell team. They have a lot of fight in them, and I enjoy it.
Closing seconds. What's I don't know. Yeah, you kind of wrap that up in a bow. You're pretty good at this 2 minutes for roughing. That's it. That's 2 minutes for roughing. So, I mean, I did want to say one thing. No one picked them except for you.
I always pick them every year. They get disrespected.
I picked them just because you were so confident. I don't really know anything, but I've been adopted into the UMass Lowell Riverhawks hockey.
You're part of it.
You go. Who'd you go with? Did you go with the wife?
I brought the wife, the
boy,
who unfortunately is a UMass alum herself. So it was a good little inter-rivalry there. Good to see us get one.
I like it. So we're gonna move on to our final segment of the night, the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby. People's topic.
So for people's topic, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. We put the thing up on our story. You can write in, message us, DM us, whatever you want. First up, we're going to go with Vicky. Vicky said, just beating the Bills. We talked about that, Vicky. We are very excited.
Huge win over the Bills.
Huge win. Ed wants us to talk about N'Keal Harry. We talked about that. Terrible.
Unfortunate.
Just positive.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Mr. Big Red says me. All right. You know what?
I'm gonna cut Molly off and answer the question from earlier. There was one instance where a AAA team and a Major League team affiliate were in the same championship series. The Omaha Storm Chasers won the 2013 AAA championship, and the Kansas City Royals lost the World Series that year to the New York Giants.
Oh man!
So we were that close to getting a Major League and a minor league team winning in the same year.
Well, the Red Sox are going to do it next year with the Woo Sox.
Let's run it. Let's do it.
My faith is in the Woo Sox. Really, I think so. Right?
I don't see how it can't be. I mean, they are easily the most loaded team. And I'm going to say this right now. Sorry, Molly, but Clint Frazier, former Yankee, is now officially a Chicago Cub. So my fellow Ginger is free. I can root for this guy now.
Yeah,
the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, the Yankees AAA affiliate, fucked. You don't have Clint Frazier anymore, you're fucked. So it's Woo Sox all day long in that division now.
I don't know why the Yankees didn't give that guy a shot. He is 10 times better. 10 times better than Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner, you're gonna put him out there, and you have Clint Frazier in Scranton.
That's my dude. Clint Frazier, official Zach guy, right there.
He's a really nice guy too. He was in Scranton when I was in Pawtucket.
There you go.
Good dude. Good dude. Really nice cleats.
Yeah, yeah. He always wears the Jordan 1 cleats.
He has a ton of customs. Like he has a bunch of different ones. Does that answer your question, Mr. Big Red? I think so. I saw Mr. Big Red on Sunday. We had a nice little time.
There we go.
Oh wait. All right. So let's go to Instagram. Let's go to Instagram. Pause. Remember, you can write it on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. All right. All right. We got a few on Instagram. Ed. I'm sorry, Ed. Ed texted me that talking about N'Keal Harry, but he gave a little more in-depth one on Instagram. So this one comes from Ed aka efits94 on Instagram. N'Keal Harry's future as a Patriot. Give him a chance and convert him into a tight end? Question mark.
I wouldn't. I'd give him a chance at tight end if he wants to try. If honestly, if he wants to give it a shot, I would see what would happen. You know, let him bulk up a little bit. Pass blocking tight end, run blocking tight end. Then he has the ability to kind of split off and make a catch if he has to. And that would change the coverage on him. If he lines up a tight end as opposed to a receiver, that would change who covers him. So if he's open to it, I'd maybe give him a shot.
This is the player comp I heard earlier, and I think it's like pretty accurate. He is like Dwayne Allen.
Oh no,
That's what he is. Like, and it's crazy. He's a smaller Dwayne Allen. Like, he's gonna block for you, maybe make 1 or 2 catches, and that's it. Like, that's like what he is. Until he proves otherwise, that's all I would trust him with. Sure, make him a tight end, make him a blocker, which is kind of what he is now. But when you have Hunter Henry and Juwanna Smith on the depth chart ahead of him, I mean, this guy's just going to be blocking. That's all I can see. And maybe run out for a couple catches here and there. I will say he makes 1 unbelievable catch a game, and that's it. Like, that's like what he does. He'll like make one-handed catch or one, like, I mean, I think we talked about this before. That's what he was in college. He would like be a guy that you throw it up to him and he just goes and gets it. But yeah, I'm not too high on N'Keal Harry right now. This comes from the wife, Danny Football Page, P. Willis 17. Will the Celtics make a trade this season for a younger player?
I mean, they have some pieces they can move around. Like you mentioned Schroeder earlier. I wouldn't want them to move Al, but they could always move Al. So they have some pieces they could move, but I'm kind of liking what they have going on right now. I don't know if you kind of want to start messing with it, but there are pieces out there that they could bring in. I just don't know who Brad would be most comfortable with kind of giving up on. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's too early. I think towards the deadline, if they're kind of out of it or they're low on the the standings, I think that's when you make that move for a younger player. But like, they're not going to trade Tatum for a young player or something. So it's going to be Schroeder or one of those guys if we're out of it, for a playoff team that's kind of looking to make a move or something like that. So too early to call, Paige. Too early to call, but thank you for the question. This final one comes from Joseph_Celia, our man. What AFC team is you think? Geez, Joey, come on, man. What AFC team is you think is the biggest threat to the Pats?
I'd say right now the Chiefs.
I gotta go to the Chiefs too. It's the second hottest team in the AFC. 5 games in a row.
I'm not worried about the Titans. I'm not worried about the Bills. I'm not worried about the Ravens. The Chiefs are really the only ones that are showing any signs of any sort of life right now.
Right, I agree. In the AFC, I would have to say the Chiefs. So great questions by all. Appreciate it. You can write into our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Give us a follow. Also follow us on TikTok, Big Red Zone. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all the other videos. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Big week, good week, Daddy Football. My thanks to you for joining. As always, have a great week, everyone.